Hey everyone, my name is Katie Robertson. I'm the founder and director for the Anchor Gathering, and this is the Anchor Moment, and I want to tell you a little bit about what that is. It's a time we get to hear from a guest a little bit about their life, their faith journey, and an anchor moment. And that is a time that someone has had their faith grounded and they've seen Jesus for real in their lives. So we are so excited at this time you get to hear firsthand a personal story from one of our guests, and we hope that you'll be encouraged.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I went to the University of Washington and I just recently graduated this past June, and I started working for the Anchor as the executive assistant this past January, actually. Right now, I'm currently taking a gap year before I apply to law school next year, and so I'm living in Seattle, living with some friends, and volunteering for the Navigators, which is a ministry that I was really involved in during college. A fun fact about me, I'm actually from Korea. I was born and raised and moved here when I was 11, and I got to actually visit this past October, which was super fun. So I actually didn't grow up in a Christian household. My dad, I think, had been a follower of Jesus in his college, pre-college years, but he never really imposed that on our family, at least until when we moved here. When we moved here, we didn't really know anyone. I think we knew we had our aunt and our uncle, but that was kind of it. And so we were in desperate need of a community. And so my dad, he took us to a local Korean church nearby. He just kind of forced us, like my mom, my brother, and I had no faith background whatsoever. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hated it at first. There were no kids my age, there were no girls, and I just felt like the gospel hadn't clicked for me yet, and so I didn't really understand the sermons or the message at all. And church for me just was a place where I felt pretty lonely and unseen. And it wasn't really until after or during college is when I decided to have a relationship with God. And I think for the first time, I kind of understood the difference between being a Christian and actually having your own personal relationship with God. I was going into my senior year, and just a whole bunch of things happened. So I had broken up with my boyfriend of 3 years. My parents were both away in Korea. I had moved out of my sorority house. It was a lot of change. And I think as someone who loves habit and consistency, I was really scared and just kind of really uncomfortable and just all the changes that were taking place. And so senior year, the only thing that, I felt like I could put my hope in or just put my trust in was Jesus at the time. There was really nothing else that I could really feel secure with. And so senior year, I decided to give my life to Jesus. And I mentioned this a little bit before, but I got involved with a ministry called the Navigators. And at UW specifically, it's Greek focused, and I was in a sorority at the time. And so that's how I got plugged in. I became super involved and just felt Jesus like more than ever. I felt him in the new friends that I was making through the Navigators. I felt him in the absence of my ex-boyfriend and family. Last spring, I decided to get baptized through the Navigators. It was so untraditional. It was in a hot tub and with girls that had discipled me and just walked with me. And so that was really special. So my anchor moment is actually a pretty recent one. Katie and a few others know this, that I'm going to Zambia this summer for about 5 weeks and serving there with the Navigators. But the decision to go wasn't an easy one at all. It was a lot of back and forth. I did not want to go. And I think, to be honest, the opportunity just intimidated me a lot. I felt really scared and doubtful, and I didn't feel qualified to go. There were a lot of things that I would have had to put on hold or sacrifice in order to go to Africa. And so even the morning that I decided to go, I was set on not going. I was like, I'm just gonna do what's comfortable and safe with me, which is staying in Seattle probably, maybe spending time with family, not fundraising $6,000. That is huge. I've never fundraised in my entire life. And so even that morning, I decided that I wasn't gonna go. But I realized a really important thing that morning, and that was that I had not prayed once about the decision at all. I had not let God into that process of making the choice. I just kept him out of it and made the decision all on my own. And I think a part of me was just scared that I would pray about it and that God would change my heart. And so I was like, okay, that probably is an indicator that I need to go bring that to God at least before I make the choice. And so that day I just went into my car, I went on a drive and spent time talking to God about it for like hours. And it's not so much that I heard like you should go to Africa or you should stay. It's just things started coming up. And I think the biggest thing that came up for me during that time with God was that I was just terrified. I had doubts of what God could do with me. I didn't think he could use me in Africa. I didn't think that he could sanctify me or refine me in any way. And I was just doubting his powers and his sovereignty. And it's not that he changed my heart on it. It's not that he made me want to go to Africa, but it was more so just a command. And it felt like this moment of obedience of, I know you don't want to say yes, but I want you to say yes. I know you don't want to follow me, but I just need you to, and just trust that I'm going to do some really amazing things. And so I decided after those 2 hours that I was going to say yes. And I just felt this peace and just this feeling of, I think I did right by God. Maybe not for me yet. Maybe I don't understand what he's going to do, but I think I did the right thing. It was just a form of obedience. And I think as Christians, obedience is a huge aspect of our walk with God. A lot of the times he's going to ask us to do things that we don't feel like doing, that we don't want to say yes to, but it's just, you just say yes because we love him and it's a form of worship. We shouldn't just obey just to be blessed or to be rewarded, but disobedience is so costly. And I feel like it kind of makes us miss out on the amazing things that he has in store for us. And so since then though, I have been fundraising. I have been really, really excited to go and just expectant of how he's going to use me to further his kingdom. But yeah, just this decision to go to Zambia was a moment in my walk with God where I really just for the first time felt like his call to obey and just to follow his commands.